Hello everybody, back again with another video. In today's video, I want to talk about technology. Let's talk about technology. Did technology make our lives easier, or did technology make us lazy? I think the answer to that question is both. In a way, it did make our lives easier. Um, it freed up more time for us, but in turn, the consequence to that is the fact that, yeah, to a certain degree, it did kind of make us lazy. You know, let's take the car, for example. A car, a metal box that we use to get around. The only physical work we have to do is push on the gas pedal or push on the brake pedal and move a shift lever. Now, that you got to keep in mind, that took the place of walking. Before cars, you know, you just walked. Or, of course, rode on the back of a horse. But, you know, for most of civilization, it was really just on foot, walking, um, or really horseback riding. Walking is something that, of course, it takes effort, but in turn, walking, that burns so many calories throughout the day. And with the invention of a car, that takes away walking. That takes away. You can still walk throughout a city, but you just can't go as far. Like, you can't walk a whole entire big city like that in an efficient amount of time. And I think in turn, with the invention of the car, it also made it to where um, we want everything faster. You know, you want to get to work fast because, hey, we have a car. So we've started to develop this mentality where um, we must save time. We must save time. You know, everything fast, instant, convenience. You know, and I think that was somewhat propelled by the invention of a car, because now, with the invention of a car, keep in mind too that now you can create a vastly bigger city, you know, because, hey, you can drive there or you can ride on a bus. And even that, even though taking a bus is um, going to be longer than driving a car in terms of the amount of time it takes, um, you still aren't, really burning calories. I'm sure you have to walk a little bit more, but it's just not the same as, say, walking or even just riding a bicycle. Riding a bicycle is better than driving a car, but it's just not time efficient. And this society is designed on convenience. We want to make things easier, but I think the problem comes in when we find that we're just not as healthy because of us wanting that convenience. We don't walk anywhere. Some of us don't even hardly go outside, period, because the only time we go outside is when we're walking to our car, going to work. Got to get out, go outside to walk into a building that you're going to be in for 8, 9, 10 hours a day. Then after that, you 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 walk out of that building back to your car, so you're outside for like, what, 10 seconds, drive home. And if you have a garage, sometimes we're getting in our car inside our garage, so we're not even getting that part of the outdoors or the walk-in. So it's just the car that it did make our lives easier. It did um, save us time, but in turn, we do have to acknowledge the fact that it did kind of make us just a little bit more lazier in terms of we don't want to walk and we want everything all fast. And that kind of leads to um, that leads to these instant services that are used by cars. Um, Uber Eats, DoorDash, any of these like food delivery companies. Now, those I think, of course, they help you to save time. You don't have to go and pick up your food, but I think I can make more of an argument as to that making us somewhat lazy to a certain degree. I mean, we can't even go pick up our food anymore. We're willing, think about this. You have to think about this. We're willing to pay a premium just for somebody to deliver food to our house. Now, don't get me wrong. Um, don't get me wrong. Some people might need that service because for one reason or another they're unable to go outside of their home. But I'm talking people who are able-bodied, who are able to walk. We're ordering Uber Eats, DoorDash. Now, keep in mind, I'm not exempt to this. I've ordered Uber Eats before. Don't get me wrong. So, I even put myself into this category, but it it creates a situation where it creates a situation where you have food, and a lot of times the food is not healthy. We have a lot of unhealthy food just being delivered to us. We're not even having to go outside the house anymore. We don't even have to do that little part of walking in terms of walking to our car, driving, you know. And I get it, it does make our life easier, but in turn, yeah, we can kind of all agree that it has somewhat made us just a little bit more um, lazier in a way, you know? And like I say, I put myself in this category. I can be lazy sometimes. I try not to be, I still try to walk when I can, but, you know, it's different. It's different, you know. Um, Take a phone. Let's talk about the phone. Let's talk about everything that we can do on the phone. The phone's a GPS. The phone makes it to where we don't have to um, physically see somebody to talk to them. Um, Now I understand that, you know, more of a convenience thing because you're still getting this, well, you're somewhat getting the same value out of a human interaction, whether you're talking to them on the phone or talking to somebody in person, you're still talking to them. They might be somewhere on the other side of the country or the world, but, um, I can understand that. But let me tell you one feature of the phone that does kind of make us lazy in a way. We call it convenience, but I think this one feature that phones have does kind of make us lazy. Now, you can buy a smart light, put that bulb in, and literally at the push of a button, turn your lights on and off. Which means if you're sitting down or something, all you gotta do is open up your phone. Boom, you just turn the light on. You don't even have to get up and walk to the light switch and flick it on or off. Like, you can literally be laying down. You can literally be sitting on a couch or something and boom, Touch of a button, you just turned on your lights. And you have to really think about that for a second. Is that really a convenience thing? I mean, it is. It makes our lives easier. But yeah, that kind of made us lazy. We have to be honest about that. That kind of made us lazy. You know, but that's technology. That's the way we're going. Um, Even some of the biggest technology creators say, "Hey, we invent this technology to make our lives, and to improve people's lives in terms of making them easier." But I think the bad part is it prevents us from burning the necessary calories that we just naturally gain from eating. You know, when you're never walking and you're just eating and eating, and especially a lot of these bad foods that we see out here now, if you're not walking around to burn those calories off, you know, no wonder it's so easy to gain weight in this society, you know? It's extremely easy to gain weight. We just don't walk. We do all these things. We drive. We order food online. We hit a button and turn a light switch on. We're not actually physically doing things, you know. We aren't burning calories or anything, you know. Um, let's talk about drive-throughs. Drive-throughs. Okay. Now, one could make the argument that that is something that somewhat has made us lazy. We don't even have to get out the car anymore. You know, the drive-through was popularized by a lot of fast food places. Um, I believe it was like the mid 1900s. That's when drive-throughs started to become more and more popular. You don't even have to get out the car anymore. Like a lot of times with drive-throughs, a lot of bad, like a lot of places that serve unhealthy food have drive-throughs. I don't recall really seeing a lot of places that are like health food stores that have drive-throughs. I'm just saying I don't see them. I see a lot of places that serve burgers and fries and milkshakes and stuff with tons of calories have drive-throughs, but you just don't really see um, like healthy salad bars with drive-throughs. Now, I think the only exception in terms of healthy places, I would say Smoothie King. I've seen some of them with drive-throughs, but um, yeah, I think I don't know about every Smoothie King. I've never been to every Smoothie King, but most of the ones I see have a drive-through. But that's a little bit different. That's healthy. Well, it can be healthy, healthier at least, but um, the drive-through, you don't even have to go into the store anymore. That's just something that I think does contribute to us um, gaining weight, and it just overall makes us lazier. We don't even have to burn those little amount of calories that you burn walking from your car to the door. Here's another thing that I see a lot too, by the way. You go to a grocery store or any store in general, there's usually a big old parking lot, vast parking lot. Everybody's parking way up front, and I'm usually the only car that parks like way in the back because I like to be able to at least be able to burn more calories walking into the store. But I just noticed everybody parks way up to the front. I mean, I've literally seen people when I'm at a store or something, literally circling around 5 minutes just to try to find a parking spot, like way up at the front of the store, instead of just saying, hey, let me just walk 30 more steps and park in the back. And I just don't get that. We just have this mentality, this minimization of everything. We don't want to walk, you know, we don't want to bike ride. I want to buy a bike myself because I put myself in that category as well. I think biking is healthier than driving, you know. But I need to buy my own bicycle, because I got places that are within bicycling distance that I could just bicycle to. But um, yeah, it's just we don't we're not doing these things. We're not walking the way we used to. We're not. You know, Here's another thing: the internet. Anything we want to figure out, we can look up from home. Now, don't get me wrong, the internet is a good invention, but I think in turn we do have to um, realize that the internet did, in a way, kind of make us lazy. Because think about this: before the internet and all this came out, to where we can just research something from our home, um, you used to have to go to the bookstore. You used to have to actually go in your car, drive to the bookstore, pick up an encyclopedia, and figure out what you wanted to know. You used to have to actually do real research, you know, via reading, you know. Um, and now you can just search something in Google and figure out whatever you want to figure out. It did make our lives easier, though. I acknowledge that, but the same time, it did create a situation where, I mean, we don't want to really go out like that. We don't want to um, interact with anybody, you know. So yeah, technology, it to a certain degree, yeah, it made our lives easier, but I think at the same time we could make the argument that, hey, it kind of does make us lazy. And lazy in the sense that we're not doing as much anymore, you know. We're not doing as much anymore. Um, let's see, I kind of wrote a few notes down as well. Um, Laptop is kind of the same as a phone. Everything is done from home. We don't have to go out. We don't have to interact. We don't have to actually read. And don't get me wrong, all that actually saves time too. So I do acknowledge that there is a good purpose for these items: a phone, car. Um, you know, we don't actually, there's a good purpose for these, but at the same time, a drive-through, I can't really make a good argument about a drive-through, or like Uber Eats or DoorDash. I don't think I can make a good argument for those, other than, say somebody is unable to go outside for some reason. That would be good. Um, I actually had dishwasher, washing machine on here as something that might have made us lazier, but I think those definitely do serve a good purpose. You're always gonna have to wash dishes, so um, those two are pretty good time savers. I'll say they save time. But does it make us lazy? Sorta. But in this type of society where we value just convenience over everything, time saving over everything, um, those are pretty good inventions. Pretty much all of them are. Car, dishwasher, washing machine, drive through. Um, I have social media on here. I don't know why I wrote that. All of this is made to save us time, make our lives easier, but we're not going outside. We're not interacting with nature as much. we're overall just not walking. We're not getting exercise like that. And that's what I really mean by, it's made us somewhat lazier. We just don't we're not doing the same things that we used to in terms of exercise. We don't exercise like we used to. Most of our jobs are us sitting at a desk all day inside of an office all day, which is, I'd make the argument that that's just not very natural. Um, and I'm an advocate for just getting back to doing what's natural. Um, Going outside. Moving around. We don't move around like we used to. We sit in one place for hours. Even my job, I'm sitting in one place for hours. I'll be honest, but there is some walking involved with my job. But I mean, like I say, I don't mind. I put myself in this category. This type of society we live in general. Um, I think what is helping is a lot of cities and municipalities are trying to make their cities more bike friendly, more walk friendly, because you know, before, in the mid to late 1900s, it was all about convenience. But I think as 2000 and the 2010s came along, we started to realize, like, wow, we do need to make, cities more bike friendly, more walk friendly. Um, there's a lot of improvements I'm seeing, pretty much throughout the different cities I go to. I mean, there's more bike paths being built, more walking trails being built. Um, I pretty much see it. So, I mean, I'm seeing the change that I would like to see. So I think in terms of, I mean, we're never gonna really get rid of cars. I think because we live in such a time sensitive society, we want everything instantly. We're not gonna see like we're not gonna see the end of cars, but if we can get the ball rolling on more bike paths, um, more walking trails, that'll make a huge difference. I think if enough people took the time out to go walking throughout the day, I know that we might have jobs that don't let us burn calories like that, but I think that if we have if we're able to dedicate more time to walking and more walking trails, more bike trails were accessible for people, because you have to keep in mind a lot of us live in places where there ain't really isn't any real bike trails or walking trails other than like the park. But I'm just talking about just getting throughout the city. There isn't a huge like web or connection of biking and walking trails like that. You just don't see them in cities like that. There are some exceptions, but they're not very common. Not as common as roads. There's roads everywhere, concrete roads, asphalt roads everywhere, but we don't see the connection, the sidewalks everywhere. I think, and this is just my view, if there's a road anywhere, it should be a requirement that there's a sidewalk, and a wide sidewalk that's big enough to accommodate a bicycle. Because you know that would just help. Think about it. If we had bike paths everywhere that we had roads, a lot more people would be biking and walking. So I think it's an accessibility issue, along with the fact that everything is just time sensitive, and sometimes we just feel like we don't have the time throughout the day to do certain things. Think about this. If you're having to go to work, right? If you have to go to work, and your work is um, 45 minutes to an hour going one way, you're not going to want to ride a bicycle. I mean, that's going to take at least 2 hours or so. Well, it depends. If you have an electric bike that goes kind of fast, then it kind of depends. But I mean, you're talking 2, 3 plus hours. If the drive is like 45 minutes, so it's just the convenience thing. Just the places we work are longer, or take longer to get to nowadays because everything is so spread out because of the invention of cars. We're able to spread these cities and just make them real big, and it's just not. It's not good for somebody that's you know walking or riding a bike. If you're walking, it's kind of hard to really go places that are like outside of a 5 or so mile radius because it's just gonna take so much longer. But these cities are vast; they're huge. Um, these cities are like what, um, 50 miles in radius, and well, it depends on the city, but a lot of times that's about how big some of these cities are. Um, 40, 50 miles spans. But you know, well, maybe not even that. Some of them are maybe like 20 miles radius, but still, that's still outside of walking distance. So, um, yeah, it's something that I think needs to be addressed. Technology has it made us lazier? I think it has. Has it made our lives easier at the same time? Yes, it has. Has it saved us time? Yes, it has. I think if we can acknowledge all three of those things, that's all right. And if as long as we're improving, you know, accessible bike trails, accessible walking trails, it would just make um, it would make things a lot easier. It would make just life a lot easier. You know, in terms of staying in shape, staying healthy, because you know that's my biggest thing with it too. I think the problem is we have all this technology and it just creates a situation where we're just out of physical shape. Especially in America. You have to keep in mind America has some of the highest obesity rates in the world, and that's not by accident. It's just, I think, especially here in America, we've created a society where everything is about convenience. The easier, the better. That seems to be the motto that I've come up with in my head in terms of the invention and the advancement of these technologies. They're good, but the motto with a lot of technologies is the easier, the better. It's not the more exercise, the better. It's all about um, getting the max return with the most minimum effort. And that can be good in some aspects of life, but I don't know if that's. I would question whether that's a good thing when it comes to um, certain technologies, especially ones that prevent us from truly, keeping ourselves in shape, keeping ourselves active. We have to actively go to the gym just to burn calories now. When before, the calories burned were just from walking, just from biking. Um, because that was really the only options. But I just go to show, times have changed, and that's all right. But I think it's an interesting topic. I think it's a topic that needs to, be talked about. Has it made us lazier? Um, we don't really like to think of ourselves as lazy, but I think it's made me lazier. You know, just all sorts, just the technology, the development of these certain technology is in the society. It leads us down the path of not wanting to put in effort anymore. Not wanting to put in effort. That can be something that goes into other aspects of life as well, but that might be a different video. Just talking about putting in effort. We want instant returns. Everything has to be fast. You know, and so on my note card here, I think I pretty much um, covered everything I wanted to cover. Um, I think that's about it for this video. We're going on 30 minutes now, so I don't want to like bore you all or anything, but yeah, that's just an interesting discussion that we have to have. Just talking about this technology and everything. But I think with that, I'm gonna bring this video to a close. I really appreciate y'all watching. I mean, we 31 minutes in, so if you watching still, I really appreciate it. But yeah, today Monday morning. So hope y'all have a good week this week. Um, you know, I know it's Monday morning, so a lot of people going back to work and everything, driving to work. But I think I'll have more videos uploaded this week. Um, yeah, I have more uploaded this week. I'll have some uploaded this weekend as well. But with that, I think that's all I have for today. Really appreciative and thankful for you watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.